That's where the surgery rooms were located, and that's where most of the haunted activity happens.
My friend got pulled out from the bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, so she just left that night, you know.
Oh wow. Take it as your.
This is the first time
All right.
that we.
For both of you then?
Yes,
All right. Well, it makes sense that you don't know a whole lot about Savannah just yet.
it's a beautiful town.
Yeah, it is. Thank you very much for saying so. All right, buddy, let's step up.
Okay, Albert.
There you go. All
Albert,
right.
yeah.
So they train you two all right so far?
Oh yes.
You're enjoying your stay so far?
Yeah.
Step up. Oh, that's good to hear. Step up.
We don't stay downtown though. We stay over a suburb,
Staying out where?
about 5 miles from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Easy. So nice boy. I feel like we get mostly Floridians coming up for a little change of pace.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that come down from South Carolina as well, just, because we're so close to both of those.
Between, right?
Yep. Oddly, though, we get a lot of people in from New York.
Albert working hard.
Step up.
What time you guys start?
This is our first tour of the day. Too busy, so we're probably not going to be doing a whole lot after this.
Okay.
We'll just have to see and play it by ear. Step up.
Good boy, Albert.
Now this here is Lucas Theater. It was built in 1921, so it's only 100 years old now. But aside from those, they're all turned to ash. The Johnson Square over here to our left. This and largest of the 22 squares in Savannah. Step up. Good boy. First put this in place back right after we were founded in 1733. This is now the financial heart of Savannah. Pretty much every single building here, aside from the church straight up ahead of us, is a bank. Even the church looks like a bank, let's face it.
Yeah,
Step
it
up.
does.
Awesome job there, Bert.
A lot of these poor men didn't survive their surgeries, or they would, their injury would become infected and they would die afterwards. Step up. It's a really beautiful hotel,
Yeah.
but unless you're actually trying to look for some ghosts, best not to stay, at least on the 4th floor of it. That's where the surgery rooms were located, and that's where most of the haunted activity happens. Lower floors are a lot calmer. So there were a lot of deaths in the building over that time, and a lot of the bodies were actually buried in the basement, which they discovered in the 1950s when they redid it and removed these floors.
Must be the hotel that Lisa stayed. My friend got pulled out from the bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, so she just left that night, you know.
Oh wow. A little bit of a traffic jam going on up over here. Fuck up, bud.
Look at that.
Step up. It is still an active church, so they do hold mass several times a week. There will be the occasional funeral done here. There's a lot of weddings that they have here. Step G in 1899 and finished it in 1902.
That's a good.
Down this way are just some private residents. Coming up over this way on our left-hand side is Colonial Park Cemetery, the oldest standing cemetery in the entire state of Georgia. Funny thing about that is it wasn't actually the first cemetery we made, it's just the oldest one we have yet to build on top of. The actual older ones have houses on them now, so they don't count anymore.
Somebody live there?
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And we also built on top of this one too, or at least half of it. We don't want to feel left out, you know? So in the 1870s, we built this road here, and then all of these homes on top of about 4,000 bodies. That's the main reason why people say we're haunted.
Yeah.
You build on dead bodies, they don't like it very much. Step up. Step up.
Good to know. Wow.
So yeah, don't stay over here.
No, not here.
Now, probably the most famous person that's buried in this cemetery, Lynette. first name literally button, like a button you have on
Yeah.
your shirt.
Uh-huh.
He was the youngest man to sign the Declaration of Independence.
Oh,
He was
okay.
about 28 years old. Then a year later, he challenged Lachlan McIntosh to a duel because McIntosh had been promoted instead of Gwinnett. And, well, Gwinnett had signed a very important piece of paper, so obviously he thought he deserved the promotion instead. They went out and they dueled, and they were both shot in the leg. Now, Gwinnett's injury became infected and he ended up dying from it. McIntosh made a recovery and he was all right. Gwinnett would be buried here in the cemetery, and eventually when McIntosh died, they buried him dueling distance away from the man he'd shot all those years before. In a delicious sense of irony.
Oh my.
Boy.
1890s.
There we go.
Creepy old build that themselves. It looks very Middle Eastern, which really isn't Ford style. Problem is we don't know who actually did have it built. Easy. None of the old records survived. One theory is somebody bought a bunch of Arabian horses and didn't want them to feel homesick. So it's, maybe that was made in the 90s.
Oh my
All down
goodness.
there are dead bodies. Is the first Christian cemetery and would have been the one by Miss Mary Marshall. Because they did occasionally have people die inside of that old jailhouse, and
CBS.
well, it's actually pretty spooky.
Almost everywhere spooky.
We have our first courthouse here, our first jailhouse, and the gallows in the middle where the hanging now.
Uh-huh. Right there, right?
Yeah, there's the Gordon Monument. Ends up passing out from a heat stroke. He was bedridden for a little while, but was making a recovery. And bus doors open on the right side. So you had to first reverse the routes to get the shot right. And, well, naturally, it's not really a bus stop. You don't need it there. So the city decided to go ahead and let them